test aspects, that's easy, because most of the time you were on pole and winning. So that was always fun, because everybody goes to the track. It doesn't matter if you're in, you know, 1st or 10th place, you're still doing the same amount of work, and it feels a lot better in 1st.
Sure.
Some of the worst stuff, I mean, that guy is the most driven and competitive individual that I've ever come across, and the standards are very high, the pressure to perform is very high, and sometimes in the heat of the moment it doesn't feel that good. But ultimately, if you want to be as successful as he was, that's how you got to be. It's the name of the game. Visionary might be a little bit strong, but he quickly saw that this was going to be an advantage that he would have over his competitors, to really take an analytical approach to his riding. He'll be the first to say that I'm not the most talented rider out there, which, you know, sometimes I disagree with. He's just being modest, but he really looked at the analytical approach to racing as a benefit, and it seemed to gel pretty well together with my skill set, because I helped guide him down the path, and he helped, you know, keep me grounded with the realities of racing, and it just worked out. The reality of it is that I came into the motorcycle scene as electronics were really gaining popularity, and I came in with a more formal training than teams in this country had typically seen. So I was kind of a big fish in a little pond, and that helped perpetuate that. You know, my mentors are from, you know, my work in universities, where I was surrounded by some amazing engineers. Definitely. I mean, you know, when I hooked up with Matt, I was, you know, not straight out of university, but I was in an academic environment that was pretty, I don't know, forgiving in terms of pressure and competition. And, you know, going into the racing scene was very intense, and definitely helped prepare me for the hardships of business. Well, that's part of what our philosophy is. So in the racing scene, I've spent many years working with complicated electronics and really highly tunable systems, but the cost associated with that is not necessarily the hardware and buying the stuff, it's the personnel to maintain it. If you go to any of these factory teams with, you know, sophisticated electronics, it's to the point where each rider almost has their own dedicated technician for dealing with the electronics. And
yeah.
So, you know, the average guy can't afford that. We tried to take the majority of what you get out of your electronics and distill it down into a affordable package, not only from a cost standpoint, but so that the end user could get their head around it. Yeah, absolutely. You know, a lot of guys who actually get their laptop out and get over the initial fear of messing around with it, because everyone thinks they're going to screw their bike up. Well, okay, it's possible, but you got to get pretty extreme. But once they get over that hump and they start playing with the traction control and the self-mapping and the quick shifting, they love it. We get the best fan mail. Well, I have to be honest and say that I haven't taken a very close look at the details of the BMW system, but what I can tell you is that our system is based on rate of change of engine RPM. So it offers benefits of a traction control system, but also when you're racing, there's certain situations where you need to get that rear tire spinning. Our system allows for that because once you break through the rate of change traction control and you have the tires spinning, the system actually allows that to happen, which in a sort of more intrusive wheel speed differential system, that's going to be harder to achieve. I don't want to call it a black art, but it's a mix. You take the quantitative information you get from your data logger and other electronics. You take the qualitative information you get from your rider. You pull upon your past experience and you pull them all together and make educated guesses. That's about what it comes down to. And really, some of the most successful teams are teams that have been together. The crew chief, the rider, the crew, they have relationships that go beyond just the technical aspects, and they're able to read each other. So yeah, that comes into play, and it helps filter out what's valid and what's not valid, and when, you know, when we need to pay attention to something and when we can just kind of let it go. So as long as there's open communication, trust, you just pull on all the information.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it. It's not really affecting the market for us. I mean, Jordan, we got on board with Jordan in 2005 and have, you know, been a very active part of sponsoring that program. They've been great for us as far as marketing. We just added the Monster Energy M4 team with Cardenas and Hopkins.
Nice.
And you know, the umbrella teams of we got Danny Aslick and Chris Ulrich, and so we're actually expanding in this market where some of the factories are pulling back. We do have a lot of new exciting things coming out. We've released motocross product. We've got upgraded software. We're expanding our applications, but fundamentally, the product at its core is the same as we introduced in 2008. I just think people are finally getting their heads around it, the self-mapping, the traction control, and all these benefits, which were essentially new to them. Not right now, but come back and see us in 8 months, and just before we're ready to release it, and then we'll tell you all about it.